Okay, our Hangouts on Air is live. So I hope a few of you may be joining us over the Facebook group or YouTube as well. I think you can type in the sidebar there and it should get to me eventually. But have patience. I have 3 different cameras rolling and audiences in at least 3 different places. Okay. Pull up my presentation notes for you guys today. I meant to broadcast a lot earlier. I know it's very late for especially people on the East Coast in America, but I figured it's better to go ahead and get this out there than not. I know a lot of you will probably see the recording after the fact, so thanks for watching the replay. It's still good information today. I just wanted to check in with you guys and share, because it's been a long time since I did a live broadcast. I wanted to share what's been going on since the new year and check in with you guys about your progress so far in 2019. And I have a lot to share with you about what we've been doing, working behind the scenes on the Foundry accelerator and the newest, there's a 30-day challenge all about wealth and product creation and marketing and sales funnels that we are working on with some of the inner circle mastermind members and clients starting tonight, tomorrow. So I am back in Asia. I guess the first order of business is I will share a little bit about what I have been up to for the last 2 months, January and February, do a little bit of review about what's going on here within the Foundry and take any questions you guys have. But then I would like to dive in for those of you that are inside the Foundry program already, inside the accelerator platform that we have. I will be sharing all kinds of prep material and pre-training basically for you guys that are ready to join us on this next 30-day challenge, which again is all about the wealth pillar. So every month I do basically a 30-day challenge. Sometimes I do a 90-day challenge, so it'll be like a 3-month project or engagement. And usually I do set it up so that I'm working at least with some of my close friends and clients that are on my personal mastermind group every week. Sometimes I share it with you guys inside the Foundry Accelerator platform. Sometimes, honestly, I keep it to myself if it doesn't really apply or fit. So we've done all kinds of things. The purpose, so this is about the challenge-based lifestyle, and I've been developing this habit since 2016. One of our first mastermind groups, we did a 90-day challenge together. The process has become a lot more streamlined and powerful and just organized to help really turbo boost you guys since 2016. This is our 4th iteration we're jumping into right now with a few of my advisors. But the purpose of this, it actually started with, this was an amalgamation of ideas I've garnered from many of my mentors, but the person who I've got to credit with really helping plant the seed in my mind was Brian Johnson, who, if you've been with us since the DNA days, the Academy days, you hopefully will have seen my interview with our DNA mentor, Brian Johnson. And he's an author, he's a podcaster, he's done, I think, 400 episodes. He started something called Philosopher's Notes, and he was going through sharing the meat and potato summaries of all kinds of great personal development and philosophy and mindset books and spiritual development, all these sorts of things. Anyhow, he said something in one of his training courses a couple of years back that really helped it just gave me the idea to start really getting serious about this challenge-based lifestyle. He said every month he tries to remove a bad habit and replace it with one new good habit. And the habit change is a really difficult process. It's always a lot harder done than said. But I also took a lot of lessons I learned from what was it called? Um, what is that great book, man? It's so simple, but it slipped my mind. But there's a fantastic. I'll link to it in the description after we do the recording. But there was a phenomenal book all about the habit loop that really helped me when I was trying to quit smoking years ago. Which is something I have still struggled with, but for the most part, I finally broke that bad habit about a little over 3 years ago. Um, and ever since then, I've just been trying to, yeah, like weed through all the bad habits in my life and one at a time, kind of like obliterate them and start to slowly replace them with positive, productive, helpful habits that make me feel healthier, make me perform better, things like daily habits that I can just simple little things that help chip away at towards making progress towards my goals or improving my business, those sorts of things. So as we've been building the HERO Foundry and the accelerator platform, that's the biggest element that we have built, baked into it, is this idea of the habit-based lifestyle and trying to create a space where we can gather small groups and hold each other accountable. For anyone who's not inside the accelerator platform, we basically license white label software from Facebook. So we have our own private, 100% data secure, essentially a Facebook community or platform of our own. So it's not hooked in with the public Facebook. It's not hooked in with advertisers. It's not, you don't need to worry about your people, like I'm not even technologically savvy enough to do that if I wanted to. We're not collecting your data. We're not recording your private messages between users, except the things that you communicate to me. But it gives you direct access to me. We can chat. We can do live video. Like one of the 3 broadcasts I have going here is in the Foundry platform. But the purpose here, rather than what happens with most social media, which is like people just end up showing you the highlight reel, and we all play this game subconsciously most of the time, but we all end up playing this game of trying to show the positive side of our lives while avoiding sharing any of the negative. And you end up comparing yourself. You end up in this comparison game against just the cherry picked, the best moments of other people's lives. It gives you such a distorted view of reality. And I mean, it's developed and crafted to be as addictive as possible. So I know everybody, myself included, ends up spending so much time on these platforms. And frankly, I was looking for a way. I want to take the conversation away from those platforms, and especially when a lot of conversation often trends towards things like political arguments or just this one-upmanship. I wanted to take the same tools, the same technology, the same kind of platforms that everyone knows and loves and is familiar with, and it is a great way to connect with one another, but remove all those attachments, and like we're setting our own frame. So the HERO Foundry, if you're not already inside, when you join, it's a medium that you're going to be instantly very familiar with. However, we're setting the frame of this is a place to focus on personal development and growth and improving yourself, your business, your family, and at the same time, being real, getting raw and, telling the truth, the real raw truth about the struggles we each go through. So you're going to hear, if you're not already in there, you will hear some of my horror stories at times and the challenges and obstacles and failures that I've had to go through, the monsters I've had to face, the dragons that I'm still trying to slay. And that's the point, but to create a secure space but where we can be authentic and a little bit vulnerable with one another and share, I mean, both the small wins on our own individual heroes' journeys, as well as the struggles that we go through. And it's a place where you can come to seek, you know, great advice and mentorship, as well as just some empathy and support when you're not doing so great. So for all of you that are already inside the Foundry, you know, if you haven't introduced yourself, like many of you, please, that's the first step. The first thing that we need you to do is at least show us your face, you know, upload a profile photo, write a short about me description, and if you can garner the courage, you know, if you want to answer the call to adventure on this hero's journey, step one is just record, take your phone like I've got here and just record a short 1 to 2 minute introduction video and tell us who you are and what brings you here and what your mission is right now. You know, what's the dragon you're trying to slay in your life? Adam, what's up? I don't know if you can send a comment. I'm glad to see you. I was hoping to catch you, but I know it's super late for you. But yeah, thanks for staying up and joining me. Let me know if you can hear me coming through. There's a lot of layers of technology. I'm back in the Philippines, and the connection here is not anywhere near as reliable as it has been. So I am sorry for that, guys, but I hope it'll be good enough at least once we get the recording out there. You should be able to follow along with it fairly well. Yeah, if any of you guys can shoot me a message or give me a heart or a like, whatnot, let me know if I'm coming through loud and clear, I hope. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I will dive in. You know, if you guys have questions, go ahead and just share them and I will do my best to get to them if and when I can. But I appreciate you sharing your time and being here to tune in, so thank you. But I'm going to go ahead and dive in and give you the update about, man, that YouTube broadcast is real dark. I need to keep up the jungle in my backyard. But yeah, if you guys are on YouTube or in the Facebook group, this is what you get. There will be a nicer, I've got the high grade camera running, so I will share that later. But if you want the best broadcast, the best live broadcast right now, if you are already a member, then I recommend go ahead and jump inside the our private Foundry accelerator group. And I'm going to dive into the meat and potatoes now. So, okay, so what's been going on for the last 2 months? The last time I gave you guys like a development update was probably a few months back, maybe late November or December. Yeah, I did broadcast, I think, late December. But so we'll get back into the details of the March 30-day challenge shortly. But first, I just want to share, yeah, what's been going on out here in Asia. So if anyone doesn't know, you know, we did spend over a year, about a year and a quarter back in the U.S. I brought my family, my wife and my son, and we were living in Northern California. Mostly, I mean, big shout out to my parents. Thank you guys very much. We stayed with family for the bulk of that time. I did wander around. I spent some time in Phoenix, Arizona. I spent a little bit of time in the Bay Area, California. Really, predominantly, we were looking at the school system for my son, and he spent, a school year and a half in preschool, which was okay, but I wanted to be really involved. I was on the school board, and I was happy with the teachers. Chris was happy with the teachers, and it was great to get him in the school program generally, and you know, interacting with other kids his age. That was fantastic. But I won't go into the details, but I wasn't thoroughly impressed with just the bureaucracy behind those programs, and having that behind the scenes view, knowing how much tax money gets spent per child is astronomical, and the results just are disappointing. If you ask me, you know, whatever program we have him in, being a father, it's a commitment I've already made that I realize I have to, and I'm happy to be, as involved as I can be in his education. I think parents are, should be your children's number one teachers. You can't rely on the school system, but after experimenting with those programs for almost a year and a half, and a number of other things, cost of living and just business opportunities that really were lacking, social network that was lacking. We decided finally to move back to Asia, at least for the foreseeable few years. And we did spend, since 2014, 15, 16, we were in Thailand. But my wife is Filipina, for anyone who didn't already know that. And so finally we found, we were searching and searching for the right place for both of us here. And it really came down to, especially if we're going to get Chris in school, we used to have to, doing the nomad lifestyle is fun, but it sure is expensive and, it's costly and timely. The biggest thing, honestly, was I could not keep up with all of the logistics and the travel planning, because basically every 2 to 3 months I would have to take me and the whole family out of the country, fly somewhere, another country nearby, go to a Thai embassy, reapply for visas. Like there was this whole complex process. And because neither Jim nor I are Thai nationals, and neither one of us are employed by a Thai company, that whole situation was just extremely complex and expensive. And so, and yeah, it was just taken away from my just my ability to concentrate and focus my energy and time and attention on the business and on Chris and on family. And that got to be a big headache. So I ended up, when I was a younger man, a single man traveling on my own. Several of you guys will know me from like Digital Nomad Academy and the whole nomadic or location independent business movement, and that's still something I am involved in. And we try to incorporate a lot of travel into our lifestyle as a family now. But it's a whole different ballgame when you have kids. I mean, I do have several friends who have traveling families, and it's pretty incredible to me how a lot of people are able to do that. But at least for us as a young fledgling couple and young family, just getting our bearings, just building a strong foundation, we decided we needed to, settle somewhere or have a home base, a headquarters for a few years at least. We'll see what happens in the future. But I gotta say, it's actually pretty nice having a house for the first time in a decade. Like I say, when it was just me, traveling around was an awful lot of fun. But when you're raising little people, it does get more complicated. And, I believe they benefit from having more stability. So that's been a game changer in my experience. But yeah, we were looking at the U.S. and the Philippines and kind of weighing our options and trying to decide where's the best place for us. And we're still finding our way, but for now we've decided to settle down for the time being here in the Philippines. And we found this beautiful. We're on a little resort island called Panglao. It's connected to a bigger island called Bohol. It is a little off the beaten path, but just beautiful place. There's several very nice beaches within a 20 or 30 minute ride from here. And I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but yeah, I'd like to just share with you guys about what's going on here in the Philippines. Yeah, we finally we looked around for a month or two, and we finally found this beautiful home. So we have just a phenomenal family home here, which serves as HERO Foundry HQ Asia now, and living out here on the edge of the jungle, basically. It has its challenges, but I really like, we've got a lot of space here and a lot of nature, and the weather's pretty great out here, especially compared to to being stuck in a cold winter right now, like we were back in the States. Um, and yeah, we have recently put Chris in. I was so pleasantly surprised, actually. The biggest reason why I wanted to try out the U.S. first originally was for the school system. But when we came out here and looked around at some of the private school options, we found a great program. And Chris has been in this well, he's in K1, first year kindergarten at English Language, Science, and Mathematics Academy. And so far, that they have been just spectacular, custom creating a curriculum around him and his situation, and he's loving it, making tons of friends. I just picked him up from school, which is why I was a little later than intended getting this broadcast out. But I've been away for 2 months and I haven't seen my son. So thanks for having patience with me and understanding. I gotta spend some time catching up with the family and getting back into the swing of the dynamic here on the ground in the Philippines, and wanted to go visit with Chris's teachers and all of that. So anyhow, he's loving school. My wife and I have been away for just about 2 months, yeah, in Thailand, not too far away, but overseas technically, and in that time, I mean, I was doing business. I was running our latest. We had a leadership retreat and had lots and lots of meetings with some mentors and just old friends and many people who I am slowly building out partnerships or collaborations with, and lots of people who I just haven't seen in a few years since we moved away from Asia a couple years back. So we had a great time in Thailand. I spent a lot of that time with my best friend Dwight Turner, who's the founder of Courageous Kitchen. And I got to, for the first time in my life, I was really diving in, learning about cooking and gardening, which is something that's been, especially since we have some land now, that's been high on my list to learn about. And I got to learn at the feet of the masters and download a lot of the expertise of some people, some new friends who come from a long line of farmers. And I'll share more about that later. But yeah, so I spent the last 2 months abroad, away from my wife and son, and have missed out on a lot. And it was a great time for business, a great time for networking, a phenomenal time catching up with old friends. It was actually my 10-year anniversary of when I first moved out to Bangkok, Thailand, back in 2008. And yeah, I got to spend New Year's in Bangkok with Dwight and with Mark Weems and Joel Bruner. Some of you might know Mark and Joel from Migrationology, but they're old friends. We used to kick it 10 years ago back in Bangkok. And yeah, it was really fun to spend a lot of quality time with old friends, which is something that had been missing in my life for the last 2 years. So I just had a great time. I want to send a huge thank you to Dwight and his new wife, Panisha. By the way, congratulations again to you guys on the official wedding recently. Yeah, to Alina and Lily and Bella and the whole Courageous Kitchen team. I mean, Dwight really helped me to execute this recent event that we hosted down on the beach in southern Thailand. But also, I spent probably 6 weeks in all, something like that, in Bangkok at Courageous Kitchen headquarters, and I just had the time of my life. You guys treated me like royalty and really spoiled me, and we had so much good food, and I learned so much, and I'm really thankful and grateful for, especially the opportunity that you guys helped provide for me to share a lot of the things that I've been working on with the Foundry. And yeah, nurturing my soul and teaching me some new stuff. So we all had a blast. It was a great time, but I sure did miss home. There's no place like home. And as a married man now, it really, the last 2 days, it's been a blessing to come home to my wife and my 5-year-old son. Chris just had his birthday, and yeah, a beautiful home full of love. So I'm sure thankful to be back. So I'm back broadcasting to you live from the Philippines. Yeah, this is an archipelago of like 7,000 or 8,000 islands. So, the infrastructure is not quite the same as it is in Thailand or on the mainland. There's always a few hiccups, But thank you all for bearing with me, and whatever, we'll make do with what we have. I'm at home right now. We need to upgrade our internet provider. I've learned from the wife while I've been away, but I will probably be broadcasting a bit more from. There's a great office that I go to not far here in the actual city, but we like to live a little on the outskirts. Not rural, but it's kind of the province life a little bit. Anyhow, so yeah, we had it just what 2 weeks into January. I hosted the first official Hero Week. This was my sixth adventure retreat. But we had a few customers. Like basically, we gathered the mastermind group and did a trip down to Krabi, Thailand, on the beach. And I've hosted six of these type of events, starting in Costa Rica, I think was it 2013 or 2014. Anyhow, done several in Krabi, but this was the first time we have really doubled down on the hero's journey curriculum that I've been developing over the last 2 to 3 years. And I also want to thank Brandon and Carrie. You guys brought your two young sons all the way, literally from the opposite side of the world. And I know you went through, a road of trials. We all went through a road of trials together, all kinds of obstacles and challenges. And you guys did a phenomenal job. If you're inside the Foundry, I did do a short debrief video sharing some of what we went through together in that experience. But we had a great 5-day immersion where I did it was a family trip, but so we had the two little boys along, which made it in a sense a bigger challenge. And that's one of the reasons why I'm super proud of Terry and Brandon. They brought their boys along for all this stuff. We got to the top of the mountain. We were out there swimming in open water. And trying all kinds of new foods, obviously exposing everybody to a new culture, new language, new religion. Thailand's mostly a Buddhist country. It was a big learning experience for all of us. So thank you guys. It was a challenge for me as well in many ways. And I believe and I pray that we all learned and grew, even though it challenged us to maybe close to our limits at times, but that's the point of this hero's journey that we are all sharing. But it was a great time. After the event, I did spend a couple weeks down there working on recording the latest training series I'll be putting out for you guys in the Foundry soon. But also, just a hint, but I will be partnering with my old event partner, Wolfgang, who over the last 18 months, he and his wife built just a breathtaking luxury hotel. It's a, eco-friendly hotel. They've got community gardens, they have a yoga shala, they have a retreat space, they're building a co-working space, they have like 3 delicious sounding restaurants that are, one of them was open. The food was great. 2 of them are still in the works. I think they should be open any day now, but three hotels on the property. And, I have partnered with him at least 3 or 4 times over the last few years to put on several of my events in Thailand. And we will be partnering again. I had a few great meetings with him, got to watch the sunset a couple times from his rooftop, and exciting things coming with our friend Wolfgang. So those collaborations are in the works. You'll be hearing more about that soon. And then, when I was back in the big city in Bangkok, Thailand, I had some great meetings with people like Ian Ord from Where Sidewalks End. If you guys are familiar with him, he leads a lot of tours throughout Southeast Asia. They do the Sakyant tattoos, which is like the Buddhist. I never did do that, but a few of my friends are really. I think it's not the monks, but like the shaman, the Buddhist shaman that give these intricate, these spiritual, they're spiritually significant, and usually the shaman decides what design you're going to get after having a bit of time to interact and speak with you and hear your life story. You know, he takes people through their own little hero's journey experience and digs deep to whatever dragon or demons you're facing in your life, and that, you know, then they tattoo that story onto your body. So Ian does a lot of trips doing some of these creative, cultural, spiritual experiences throughout Southeast Asia. Got to meet with him a few times. We got to meet with a bunch of friends. John Bardos from Jet Set Citizen. Many of you should know him. He's also, more recently, he started a project called Dare Big, Do Good, and they do like online bundles of different courses and training products. And the goal is eventually to raise $1 million for charity, and they've already hit about $33,000 in the last year or two. Great to see John and his wife and their son. I got to catch up with a few of the refugees and asylum seeking families that Dwight works with through Courageous Kitchen. I mean, so Courageous Kitchen puts on, if you guys don't know, most of you who follow me know, but if you don't know, Courageous Kitchen, they're a 501c3 charity foundation that's based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but their operations are primarily in Bangkok. They serve asylum seekers and refugee families and basically children in need. Since 2008, you know, I've watched Dwight grow from just a little program in the slums teaching English to some of the kids to supporting many families who can't who can't even put the kids in school. Mostly, I believe they started with just getting school uniforms and buying books and helping pay for school. They do cover rent for a few families that are just basically undocumented and unable to work, or, you know, they're mostly escaping very dangerous situations at times. Some of them have, you know, they're fleeing war often, or religious persecution. So, for example, one of the guys who's just a brilliant case study was who I got to spend the last 2 or 3 weeks housemates with my friend Patient. And, you know, I forget what year it was when I first met Patient, but I remember the stark contrast between this scrawny little kid from the Congo that I met 4 to 6 years ago, who was very, you know, in his shell. And I mean, I don't know if shy is quite the right word, but for good reasons. Many of the people that Dwight works with, you know, are hesitant to get out there in the world because they face prison time and discrimination of all kinds. And, you know, if they find work, often it's doing hard labor or dangerous construction for like $1 a day, those sorts of things. But they've really got to watch their tail and be careful. Anyhow, Patient, for example, who, you know, he came from war-torn Congo not very long ago, and I just remember his demeanor was like, it's a 180-degree change. So today, Patient is, well, he's built like an ox, but, you know, he's one of the strongest guys that I call personal friend. And he's a fitness trainer, personal trainer. His business is really booming. He's thriving. And it was great to stay with him. I got to train with him a little bit, learn from him about some of the, you know, I'm trying to get stronger and start to get back into actual heavy lifting and the barbell stuff. I've been doing bodyweight training for a long time. But anyhow, so thank you also to Patient for a lot of your mentorship and coaching recently. And it's just amazing. So he recently got engaged. And, you know, he's got a legitimate passport. He's got a legitimate Thai work visa. He's employed by one of the biggest supplement companies in Thailand. And yeah, his life is just different world than where he began. So that was really cool to see. And I got to spend a lot of time with different members of the community that Dwight and the Courageous Kitchen team serve, and that was just a lot of fun. I learned a lot, got to connect with people from all different backgrounds and different cultures, and that's what is most exciting when I'm talking about these heroes journeys. It's like, I mean, I presented one of my workshops to a group of refugees, and it shouldn't surprise me, but it astounded me how many of them came up to me after the presentation, wide-eyed and engaged and excited and enthusiastic, and that there's a common denominator. Not that I have not been through some of the depths of struggle that many of these people have, but we all go through very difficult life transitions and obstacles, and through periods of our lives that we would call like going through hell. And I think unless you're totally sedated and disconnected from reality, you may not want to admit it, but at the end of the day, we can all say we've been there. We've all been through tremendous struggle and hardship in one way or another, to maybe to different degrees, but that's a common denominator in every human life. So when you're willing and able to really, break down the walls a bit and be vulnerable and share about some of those stories and that darkness you may have been through, it's one of the most influential and meaningful ways to connect with other people, as well as breaking bread, and sharing a meal with other people, no matter what beliefs they have or what background they're coming from. Which is why it was just such a blessing and a treat to spend so much time with the guys at Courageous Kitchen, and just sharing great meals and sharing stories and sharing our backgrounds, and like seeing different perspectives while we gather around the dinner table. And so it was a real treat. And I can't wait to get back there. I will be spending a lot more time in Thailand, probably once a quarter or so in the coming years. Since Dwight is one of my biggest partner in a lot of this. But yeah, another thank you needs to go out to Alina and Lily and Bella. Aside from just taking great care of all of us on this trip, I really had a great time learning from you girls in particular. So their mom, they come from originally from Vietnam, and they're descended from a long line of farmers, basically. And Alina, I know, especially in her youth, grew up like working on the farm. But it was different worlds, right? I grew up in the city and in the suburbs, which is almost even worse. But to like really, we planted a garden, and in the heart of Bangkok, they're creating these plant beds on concrete. So it's a really interesting learning experience to see like how you can get edible plants to grow, basically in the concrete jungle. But they're great at it. They got their green thumbs, and so anyhow, as I said, I was sitting at the feet of the masters and got to learn a lot of insight and wisdom, and that was just invaluable. And had the time of my life. I can't wait to plant a garden of our own here at the house in the Philippines. But thank you, girls, for just sharing that experience with me. It was amazing to see and learn about the growth cycles, and there's a tool Dwight recommended to me called the Farmer's Almanac. I mean, I learned so much. So if you guys stay tuned to things in the Hero Project group or in the Foundry, I will be sharing a lot more of because working in the garden and watching, these seedlings grow into plants is a phenomenal metaphor for the process of growth that we go through as humans as well, or if you've got kids like me, if you're a parent, it's like you gotta nurture this little new life and watch it. If you give it the right circumstances and nutrients and attention and love, they'll blossom, they'll grow. So it's a metaphor I was already using in my work, but now to have really got my hands dirty a little bit, not enough yet. I'll be doing that in the coming weeks here in our garden, but to really start to learn the hands-on realities I'll be sharing lots more about that, but it was just a blast. So thank you again. So some of the things that we're working on inside the Foundry, but that we also did in the physical on this recent 5-day experience we all shared. Those of us that went through Hero Week together in the south of Thailand a month and a half back. You know, as I said, we all faced a road of trials. We went through painful, challenging experiences together. We sweat and bled together. You know, there were last minute travel complications. There was unexpected expenses. There were all kinds of setbacks. We all had food poisoning at one point or another. Carrie went through a lot of that, and I sympathize with that. I'm sorry that that was an ongoing challenge, but still, everyone powered through that, especially the boys when they were faced with those kind of challenges. They did so great. So it was really rewarding to see everybody power through those kind of challenges. Of course, you were all bombarded with probably I think the biggest city you've ever been to for the first time. A wildly different foreign culture for the first time, different language, different food, like different everything, different cultural norms. And the first time you face those kinds of situations, they are wildly overwhelming. And so I just want to recognize again how well, with all setbacks, still how well you guys powered through all of that. I hope you take home a lot of lessons, and I hope that those challenges really help you dig deep and learn some new things about yourselves. We climbed to the top of the mountain, like 1,237 steps, I think it is. Steep steps too. These are like temple steps. So and they got the kiddos to the top, even though we were subtly discouraging it. Brandon, as the father and leader of his family, I think he really set his mind on the end goal he wanted to achieve, and he stuck to his guns. So props to you, man, and to both of you for just seeing not just that, but many things through to the end, and bringing the family along with you with all the challenges that entails. So, but in the end, we reached this new summit. I hope it gave us all a chance to think about, like I say, what's your Everest? What is that big mountain that you're attacking right now? What's that huge goal, or that slog that what's the fight the war you're fighting, and what's the end goal? What do you have your sights set on? So that was the thing that Brandon had his sights set on, and he made it. He slaughtered that goal, and he brought the whole family with him through thick and through thin. I think at the top of that mountain, we all got to see a new perspective on the world below. Hopefully, it gave us an opportunity to dream up a new vision for our lives, for where we're going, for our future. Together we all voyaged out across the sea by boat, but especially Brendan and Carrie with their kids. They voyaged halfway around the world, on the biggest overseas trip they've ever had. But being out there on the open water, on this longtail boat of our own, we were island hopping, we were having a great time, but of course we challenged the boys to snorkel for the first time in their lives. They're 2 and 4 years old. So that took everyone's cooperation and a bit of a team effort to look out for the younger members of the group. But we got to see new things, and especially I like to have the guys think about, when you identify a beautiful tropical island out there that looks promising to you, as a visualization technique. Think about perhaps one day being like, who, if you could go claim that territory for your own. I don't know that you'll necessarily want to be a Richard Branson type, but just just to use a visualization technique, like think of yourself as a pioneer and explorer in the old days, and you're out in unexplored territory, and what would it take to be the man or woman, who can claim that new island? So we went through this experience of envisioning who is that man on the island. Who must you become to play a bigger game, to take new territory, to expand your kingdom, as I say, or your empire. And I try to take everybody through these real world experiences that give you the opportunity to envision, like, what is the future potential for your best self, like the best possible version of yourself that you can blossom into. We together, the men, we all did a kayaking trip with my good friend and local guide Mark Leo. Thank you, Mark. Always takes us on some great trips. But yeah, we did a simple river kayaking trip, and he showed me a new place I had never been, even after having lived in Krabi for several years. I mean, there's so much to explore out there. The possibilities are endless. But we discovered a freshwater spring. So we got to baptize ourselves in this beautiful, crystal clear spring water. It's bubbling up from the earth. It's like it's this place where a lot of the locals will go, but it's a little hidden away spot. I mean, we were the only white folk, the only tourists or expats that were there. And if you're thinking about the hero's journey, it sure did feel like a real manifestation of like discovering that whatever life-giving water, the magical elixir, if you will. And together we all went through this apotheosis experience, through all kinds of new experiences and challenges and just physical, recreational adventure experiences. I think it forced all of us to have a new perspective. We each had revelations and insights. Not all of them necessarily positive, but it gave us each kind of these new realizations about ourselves, about what matters to us, about what we want in our lives, about what direction we're going. And like I said earlier, I mean, it's great to go out and experience new places, new cultures, new people, meet new people, but it's always amazing to come back home, and it gives you a newfound appreciation for home. And speaking of which, my family might be walking in the door any minute, but and then we ended our week together by building a fire together. We traveled through the deep dark of the night and lit a flame. We found a light in the night, and we made an offering to the flames. We burned away the old limitations that we came with, and with a beach bonfire, I hope I experienced a certain kind of catharsis, even though I've done this several times and I've led these trips 6 times. But I hope everybody had their own experience along those lines as well. Now, the real question is, can you bring some of those lessons, those revelations, those realizations home? And then on the hero's journey, which is one of the next workshops I'll be sharing with you guys inside the Foundry, I am actually going to map the whole thing out on the whiteboard for those of you who didn't get to see it in person yet. But on this cycle we go through, and I use it as a learning tool or a learning framework, or it's a growth cycle. We go through these cycles time and again, and it's a great framework and lens to look at your life through to identify the different challenges and resources and tools and mentors that you will find on the journeys you make through life, inward and outward. But The question is always, can the hero bring home the ultimate boon, that magical elixir, the treasure, or the superpowers they may have found when they're going through their darkest times and hardest experiences. There's always a silver lining. There's always that's when you find out what you're really made of. And going through those just soul crushing, like almost want to give up experiences, that's what forces you to find your real power, at the depths of your soul, and it carves away all the unnecessary. It teaches you what really, truly, deeply matters to you most, and in the end, you either die or you come out knowing more about yourself than you did before, and in a sense, stronger than you ever were before. It may take time to build back, to rebuild, to have your comeback, but if you can seek out those revelations and those deepest lessons from your hardest times, that's what gives you your power, your unique gifts and abilities, and the challenge is to bring what you can back with you to your normal world, to bring those lessons you learn in the subconscious or the unknown world or the foreign land, or bring it back with you to your everyday life. So yeah, I look forward to. I pray we get a chance to hear more from some of our friends that joined us out here in Thailand recently about the lessons they learned from the experience. I know. One of the biggest things. There's a lot I learned about myself. You'll hear more as I start to. I will be breaking down a lot of the challenges and exercises that we went through together in person in Thailand over the coming weeks within the Foundry Accelerator. But one of the biggest, just great experiences for me was learning about planting those seeds, in real life, like the real experience of watering them and nurturing them and watching them grow. And I brought back a whole sack full of different seeds, all these herbs and spices and green edible plants and all kinds of things to plant in my own garden here in the Philippines. So, that was one of my treasures that I hope I'll be able to take the new skills that I learned and actually put those things to use with my family and my community here. Now, okay, to get into, a lot of people in the Foundry, what are you guys doing? We have built this new space over the last 2 years or so, and, it started with the Academy, where obviously we had a focus on online-based business and internet marketing and information products and coaching or putting together online courses, those kinds of things. Helping people create a career or a web-based business where they can, work from anywhere, essentially. So with the new Foundry, we're taking everything that we created on all the mentors that we've learned from and all the assets that we have there within the Academy, slowly remastering all of that content and pulling out the best. So you guys will continue to have access to all of the best material that we've developed over the last, what has it been, 9.5 years? But now integrating all these lessons I've learned becoming a father, and really, for me, I realized at a certain point, and it's when my son came along, that I had been building his business, which had done very well for at least a good 6 solid years straight. They talk about passive income, which I do have to say now in retrospect, I warn people a little bit against that concept, because I think you need to, if you really truly want to thrive and have a sustainable business, it's best to find your real purpose. Like, what are you here for? What is something you can build your life around, something that you have a passion to get out of bed and work on every day and to serve people. So don't look for like the easy, low-hanging fruit. But I had built a business where, you know, it took a tremendous amount of work and energy and time up front to build it. But to be honest, for several years thereafter, I was able to kind of kick back and not it didn't require too much hard work or maintenance. Now eventually that caught up with me, but you know, and I was a little bit of a victim of my own success, or at least the success in my own mind. I got lazy, um, and I had to go through a hard experience to learn, like, you know, you've got to keep pushing forward. You can't take your foot off the pedal. If you really, really want to build, yeah, a thriving business or a sustainable lifestyle business, you've got to keep pushing forward. You've always got to keep educating yourself. You've got to be, you know, always learning, always growing, always challenging yourself. And so again, that's the purpose of the Hero Foundry, is to learn to don't wait for life to kick your butt or smack you across the face with a cold hard reality, but like to go on this difficult hero's journey willingly, even with all its challenges, is, you know, the best way to hone your skills and to stay at the top of your game, and to really, yeah, fine tune yourself, your life, your business. But I found back in what 2014 really is when it started to sink in that like I had been neglecting. I built this great business and it took me around the world. It took me and my family, the three of us, around the world for a couple of years. And it was a comfortable, low maintenance, you know, a decent income for living abroad. Um, and anyhow, but I did learn the hard lesson eventually when it caught up with me that like I had neglected these other important areas of my life in the pursuit of money. And we're about to go into a wealth challenge, so you know we are going to be focused on our habits in that particular pillar area for the month of March. But with that direction, I want that's why I want to preface this month with um, the just the insight that you've got to build all areas of your life simultaneously. You know, you've got to build up your foundations and your strength really across multiple domains if you hope to have like real lasting growth and change. You know, I learned this the hard way through multiple incredibly painful, traumatic experiences. So you're not going to learn it until you face some of the same hardship, but take my word for it. I recommend that you do what you can to create a life of balance across all these domains and you know, give each of these areas the attention they deserve. That's why I adopted this kind of 30-day challenge mindset. Every month I shift my focus from one to the next. So within the Foundry, most of you know about the 4 pillars mindset already, but if you're coming from the outside, if you see this in the Hero Project group or elsewhere, you know, I've developed a theoretical framework, I guess, over the last several years. You know, I mean, I was desperately searching for years and years, like for the blueprint, like how in the world, when I became a dad and was trying to be a husband, failing mostly, and trying to, I mean, I was going through depression and just, I had sciatica. You know, as I told you before, I was trying to kick all kinds of addictions and bad habits. So I was fighting wars on multiple fronts, and my mindset was not in the greatest place. My energy was in the gutter. I had it felt like too many, I mean, it still feels like too many things vying for my attention, but I've slowly begun to get that all under control, develop more, you know, better boundaries for myself. You know, I've learned to reinvest in myself first in many ways. You know, like just taking good care of my mind, body, and spirit, if you will, before I give to others and give. You know, because that's okay. What brings us all together? You're most likely either a freelancer or an entrepreneur of some sort, right? So you have a business, or you're a coach, or you're trying to start something and get your services or your products out there. So you're trying to be a leader of some sort. You might be a parent like me or like many of the guys I've coached in the last couple of years. Maybe like Dwight, or some of my advisors. You might be a CEO or a director of a nonprofit, or you have a big team or a community that you serve. And yeah, whether it's in your family life or whether it's in your business, even just with your customers. I mean, the one thing I think that ties all of us together is whether you realize this or not, you're on the path towards becoming a leader. And so I am here to help. I'm sharing the experience I've gone through. Not that I'm, when I say Hero Foundry, I think many people get the wrong idea. It's not like I think I'm some great perfectionist. Like, no, what do they say? The master has failed more times than the student has ever tried. And believe me, I have mostly failed. White and I were talking about this, and like we've gone back and forth thinking we should call this failure school, basically. But because I have failed like 95, 98% of the time. But I'm not the guru. I'm not the master. I consider myself a lifelong student, and really, I'm doing what I can to synthesize these different areas. I'm not an expert in any one of these areas, to be honest. But I have met over the course of the last 10 plus years, traveling across 4 continents and working with so many different people from all different backgrounds. I mean, I have been really fortunate to build just an incredible network, to have many just great mentors who have helped me get through all these impossible situations, and they've taught me so much. So my job is to pull together a great team and to help introduce you guys to great guides and mentors and leaders and teachers, domain experts in each of these areas who we draw all of our wisdom from. My job is just to kind of try to put it all together. And it took me years, but I was trying to piece this puzzle together of like, how in the world, I used to think like I had to dedicate all my time and attention to the business, to sales, to marketing, to finding clients. I mean, it feels like it essentially is, wearing, what do they say, 500 hats for 1,000. It's a lot of things to juggle. But eventually it dawned on me that I was doing all this to the exclusion of my health, especially. But even, I mean, my I don't know what you want. It depends who you are, what you want to call it. But my spiritual life or my emotional and mental health, those things. And really, when it came down to it, it was about my family and my relationships, and I knew I needed to find a way to devote more time to my role as a father and my role as a husband and my role within my bigger expanded family. And so it was through this process of like seeking how in the world can I maintain a more balanced lifestyle, rather than this extreme imbalanced life of the entrepreneur. And if you've been doing it for anywhere near as long as I have, it's like a roller coaster of ups and downs. It's the most, it gives us opportunity to grow like nothing else I know, especially the combination of travel and entrepreneurship. It's like challenging yourself in every way humanly possible. But it's hard. It is not easy. And, I think about giving up every day still. Like, that thought goes through my mind at times, right? That's a little inner conversation I've got to have with myself and talk myself up again. But the biggest challenge as an entrepreneur is the temptation to just go into tunnel vision and focus exclusively on your business or your work to the detriment of everything else. And if you're a father or a mother, if you are married, if you have any other community or if you've got a tribe around you of some sort, you also need to find a way to serve others and yourself. You've got to take care of yourself, this meat vessel that gets us around. One mistake I definitely made was for years just hunching over the laptop in cafes. Wasn't getting much exercise. I wasn't treating myself very well. I was abusing my body with different substances. I was drinking 6 nights a week. I wasn't eating very well. I was not conscious of my posture, and like I said, I ended up with sciatica. I got basically hooked on pain drugs, pain relievers for 6 months. I had to go through all kinds of things to kind of nurse myself back to health and build up that core strength, and get into maintenance mode, because I was actually out of commission for I couldn't work for several months, but I started to build myself back up. I started to learn from many of my mentors and coaches, especially, the things that I had been ignoring, avoiding, neglecting, that really needed attention. The things that, it's funny, like they're screaming out to you, but society teaches us and encourages us to sedate ourselves to the point that you may not hear or be receiving those messages. But so, long story short, the Hero Foundry is designed as a place where, I'm just here as an example, and I'm not perfect by any means, and I continue to stumble and fall and fail and screw a lot of these things up. But I will do my best to share my own roller coaster, my own winding road, and the path that I go through, trying to optimize these 4 core areas in my life. So yeah, if you don't know the 4 pillars already, they are, I call them mindset, health, wealth, and relationships. And it starts with your mindset, which is, you got to nurture your psychology, your mental health, your emotional reality. And then you got to take care of your body, your fitness, your nutrition. You got to be getting good sleep, give your body the things it needs to perform well. And then once you develop a better routine, better, healthier habits, more consistent energy and power, then you can channel that into your work and focus on on wealth, which is building your business, selling whatever you've got to sell. It's not just monetary or financial wealth, but it's like what is the reality the material reality you can create for yourself and others. And once you can actually reliably begin to create a comfortable material reality for yourself, then you can begin to truly serve others. So that's where the relationships come in. And I mean, in many ways, that's the most important thing in this life, is our relationships and the love bond you have with others, and how you can serve others, or how you're plugged into your tribe, whatever that tribe may be. But we've got to start with ourselves, start within, refine your inner game, as I sometimes say, and get clear on who you are and why you're here, and nurture yourself. You've got to put that oxygen mask on yourself first before you can put it on your children, as they say, if you've traveled as much as I have every time I get on the airplane. Because the better you feel, the better you're performing, the more you can achieve, the more you can accomplish, and the bigger you can become. And then to go back to another one of the books that changed my life, it was M. Scott Peck, The Road Less Traveled. And I think he defined, this is a paraphrase, but he defines love as, we all have been brainwashed with the wrong definition of what love is. But I love his definition. It's like the willingness to expand yourself to support or serve the spiritual or personal development of others. So especially if you have a family, if you have loved ones, if you've got kids, I think that will strike a chord with you. But yeah, the willingness to sacrifice of yourself, really, or to serve others. It's not easy, Love is a verb. It's something you do. It's an active form of service to others. And if you're not loving yourself, then good luck loving others. So you do have to start with yourself and treat yourself well before you can serve others effectively. Um, that's a big high level view, but we got these four pillars, and we are doing our best to. Life isn't easy, right? It's a lot to master. I mean, not one of us has all of these things mastered, but we are here to devise and clarify a roadmap or a path through life struggles to empower you guys, to help you unleash that inner power and develop an indestructible life of your own. It's up to you. It's up to you. You, whichever camera you're, it's up to you. The power is in your hands. I have been looking for these frameworks and mental models and blueprints, and I've been crafting and devising roadmaps for years. And these are the things that I share inside the Foundry, inside our accelerator program, inside our mastermind groups, inside of our 90-day challenges. And we've got this 30-day challenge coming up focused on wealth. But at the end of the day, the power rests solely in your own hands, and you've got to do the hard work. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You've got to make this curriculum your own. You've got to take the philosophy that I've devised. It's not going to be 100% perfect for you. So you got to take it on, do your best to understand it, retell it, like rewrite the story in your own image. You've got to make it yours. You've got to customize it for yourself. You've got to go through the exercises yourself, and basically what I will be doing, what I do throughout all of our programs is essentially providing questions for you to ask yourself. Because the truth is, most of us avoid asking hard questions. We don't like to think about hard questions too much. It's easy to tune out and veg out in front of the television, or sedate ourselves in one way or another. But if you can approach these difficult questions and really dig deep in that unknown subconscious world within your own psyche, all the answers are within you already. You know yourself like nobody else can or ever will. So I am going to provide a series of questions throughout the course of the next 30 days. We have a lot of questions related to wealth creation, to career, to service, really. How can you serve others, and what are the things that you have in your hero's tool belt, that make you unique, the things that you're inspired to do for others. Like, what is the real reason you're here? What is your purpose? And then beyond that, some of you guys have gone through some of the 90-day challenges. I have other more in-depth series of journaling prompts that I will take some of you through as you get more and more involved in the Foundry and philosophy. But be ready to dive into unexplored territory, to get your hands dirty, and approach perhaps a few topics that may be a little bit uncomfortable, but I promise you, I guarantee you, if you commit to doing the difficult work, the pain, sometimes facing the painful reality, and getting clear, that's what it's about. Know thyself. You must get clarity about who you are, where you're at, where you're going, and what obstacles lie in the way, and what work needs to be done to go from where you are today to where you ideally want to be. If you don't have a clear, GPS coordinates for where you want to go, Google Maps can't get you there, right? Okay, so if you are ready to build an indestructible life, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. I have invited you all, some of you are already on board, some of you are on the fence. You say you want to participate, but you haven't quite made the 100% commitment yet. Some of you are inside, some of you are looking in from the outside, you're a little hesitant. Many of you don't understand what you're getting yourselves into just yet. But in March, starting tomorrow, for 30 days, every day I will be sharing one little step that you can take, one piece of the puzzle, and I have a methodical roadmap to take you through. If you follow this process, trust this process, and chip away at it every day. You don't have to keep up with me if you've got too many other responsibilities. The lessons will remain there going forward for quite some time at least before we take them down for the next go around. But you're going to get access to all kinds of videos and exercises and a few workshops over the course of the next month. It is up to you to do the work, though. You've got to dive in and answer the questions. You've got to do the exercises. I can't do it for you. I can give you the tools, but you've got to use them. So you must take responsibility. That is the number one lesson for those of you who are ready to move into this 30-day wealth challenge starting tomorrow. What is a hero? We talk about heroes and the hero's journey. It's not the comic book idea. It's not a superhero that is infallible or invincible or has every superpower. We might touch on some of the comic book themes here and there, and I do use movies and stories and myths and all kinds of things as a metaphor to share the human experience, the process of the human experience. But none of us are a Superman or Jesus walking on water, and none of us ever will be. We're imperfect. We're fragile, and eventually we die. but what is a hero? A hero doesn't mean anything about perfection. It's not about glory. The hero is someone who takes responsibility for their tribe, for their community, for their family. But most importantly, they take responsibility for their surroundings, for their circumstances. The circumstances that you have created. And the most difficult, painful, but also most important element is to take responsibility for your actions, for your results, or your lack of results. So the first few lessons in the onboarding process for those of you that are already inside of the Foundry Accelerator, if you're going to be coming along on this 30-day process with us this month, if you do not step up and take responsibility, you will fail. Okay, I can guarantee you that. If you don't step up and take responsibility for yourself, for your actions, for your results, for your failures, get real with yourself. At the very least, you've got to stop lying to yourself. You've got to learn to stop blaming others. You will be given the opportunity to take a good, long, hard look in the mirror and to assess all of these 4 pillar areas of your life to get clear on the reality of where you are today versus where you want to go, the reality of what you failed at, the reality of what you're doing great at. Because of course you're going to have some strong areas. Like we each excel at certain things and are weak in other areas. But the difference between this and Facebook is we need to be willing to get real. Tell the damn truth. Stop lying. Stop pretending like you've got it all together, okay? I don't have it all together. So the hero is someone who takes responsibility. If you do not step up and take responsibility, then you will fail. You will not get the results from this 30-day process. You will not succeed within the foundry. You won't get the fruits, of going through the process if you can't be real with yourself and tell the truth. So if you are waiting for somebody else to come along to save you, then you are not the hero of your story. I'm not your savior. I can share my experience and I can do my best to help guide you, to point the way, but your path is your path. It's not the same as mine. As I say, you're going to have to figure these things out for yourself. You are going to have to do the hard work and answer the questions for yourself. And the answers are in you. I don't have them. So if you're waiting for some other hero, to come along, I mean, that's not what this is about. This is about helping you become the hero of your own story, your own movie. All right? If you're not willing to take full ownership and do what needs doing, and you've got to begin with leading yourself first. You've got to lead yourself. You've got to develop the discipline, the positive habits. You've got to decide, I'm going to do this and stick with it. Don't turn back when it gets hard. You will have, a fellowship, like the Fellowship of the Rings. You will have a community around you, a small group of people who are on a similar journey, but we each go into the darkest part of the forest alone at a certain point to face our own demons, our own facts, our own challenges, and you will have to slay the dragon at some point if you are not willing to take full ownership of your life, your results, and what needs to be done in your life, then your empire will crumble. Some of us have to go through that. I mean, we all go through that at some point or another. It's called a midlife crisis or a quarter life crisis or depression. I've been through it. I've been through it more times than I can count. That's why I'm here. It means a lot to me to do what I can to help others through those hard transition periods in life. And I know through experience that it's a cycle. We keep going on over and over. And as you grow and change and transform and evolve, you have to shed your old skin. You have to be willing to let go of your ego or things that used to serve you, but that they don't anymore. And it's the hardest thing ever. So I do my best to be at least a little bit of a mentor, if possible, and provide a space where we can support you through that. I can't do the hard work for you, though. So depending who you are and where you're starting right now, and what your own life and business look like, you're probably coming from one of three different places. So number one, you need to admit to yourself where you're at. The first reality is you might be broken. I was broken up until very recently. You don't have the results you wish you had. You might be financially broke. I'm not far from it, to be honest. I'm just getting started rebuilding a new business after my old empire did crumble to the ground. Taken me, 3 years to really start rebuilding something. I'm the biggest, baddest, strongest version of myself ever. And I know who I am and what I'm here for, though. That's what it gave me. I had to shed everything and burn it all to the ground. But I'm back, baby. So I'm here to help you have a comeback if you are coming from a place of brokenness, or if you've hit rock bottom, or if you, have gone through some unbearable experience of losing it all. So this month's not a 30-day challenge, that's the assumption. We're going to operate from This is like the path that I wish I had when I was at the bottom of the abyss, going through hell. I felt like I had lost it all and, you know, was basically looking down the barrel of a gun, ready to give up entirely on everything in my life. Thank God I didn't, but I think many people at least go through a hard experience where that crosses their mind at one time or another for one reason or another. So that might be you. You know, you don't need to share the innermost depths of your of that pain, but you do need to start to open those things up, at least for yourself. So we are here to support you. You might be, like I said, maybe you're coming to this from a place of brokenness. Maybe you're mentally, you feel like your life, you're mentally not in the game. Maybe your life feels spiritually meaningless. Maybe you wish you had the faintest idea what your real purpose is here. Maybe you're thinking about giving up, like I was not too long ago, a couple of years ago. You know, you may have sacrificed your health in the pursuit of business or your career. You might be in a place where you have a bunch of broken relationships around you. You know, maybe your wife is threatening you with divorce. Who knows? Or you're on the verge of one kind of just tragedy or another. That's life. It's okay, you know. We have all fucked up before, so welcome to the club. But I ask you to please be at least be willing to be honest with yourself, and if you can garner the courage to share with others within our platform, it's going to help. You know, the more honest you can be, the more real you can be, the better we can serve you and support you. So, you know, maybe you're not in that lowest of low places. Many, you know, which awesome. I hope you're not. But if you are, that's okay. But maybe, you know, maybe you're just bored. Maybe you have been doing a great job, and you're getting decent results, whether it's in your career or your business or any of these areas of life. But maybe you're coasting. Maybe you're a victim of your own success, like I became a few years ago. And it's like I felt like I'd hit it so good, you know, so big. I just started partying all the time, drinking 6 nights a week, and making stupid decisions, really. And I had tuned out, and my head was not in the game. But maybe you're avoiding playing a bigger game, taking responsibility for your tribe, your community, your family. Maybe you're avoiding taking on the role of a real, true leader. Maybe the whole idea of what the hell a hero is terrifies you. Maybe you need to admit that to yourself. But I'm here to show you, like, the whole concept we have. Like, that's why we go to the movies, to live vicariously through these heroes on the screen, because it speaks to our soul. But heroes and heroism are not just things of fiction. Like, it's the story of you. Every book, every movie, they're the story of you, or who you could be. So stop avoiding your role here, you know, your true calling or your bigger purpose. You know, it's easy to we all have a fear of responsibility, a fear of failure, a fear of there's a lot of fears. Even the fear of success holds us back, me included. But you know, don't let that keep you stuck in mediocrity or in a rut where you're just sitting in front of the television or overindulging in food or alcohol or weed or other drugs, or even, you know, maybe we all have a thing, a way in which a vice, you know, like you need a vice. I think it's pretty hard to live a perfect life with no vices, and it's okay to let off a little steam or to celebrate now and then. But if you're overindulging in anything, I mean, it could even be, yeah, like maybe your thing is an affair or a mistress or searching for more connection, but through very shallow means. The third place you might be coming from is simply burnout. Maybe you are coming from the top of your game. Maybe you're killing it in business. Maybe you are a CEO and you're running a big enterprise, but you're simply overextended. You're running on empty because you've been at this for so long. Maybe you've given it your all and you are probably getting pretty good results, but you may have lost your way in a sense, right? May not even be boredom, but you just get so distracted with the day-to-day responsibilities and the stuff right in front of you that you lose the bigger picture. I mean, that's normal. Getting so caught up in the daily grind that you forget what direction is up. So maybe you're missing one key ingredient. Maybe you need to develop a clearer vision for who is that man. Who must you become? What's the best version of yourself that you are aiming at? You need a target. If you don't have a mountain you're climbing, then you will get lost. Of course, you'll feel like your life has no meaning. You don't know what direction you're going. Or maybe it's simply community. Maybe you feel isolated for one reason or another. It's easy to do if you're running a business and traveling the world like I did. I mean, it's hard to stay connected, especially if you're living the nomad life. So maybe you need a support system, a community, a tribe of your own. Maybe you don't have real deep bonds. So this is a place where we will offer that kind of support, where we do offer that support for you. Or maybe you're just your head is in the game. Maybe you've got some good people around you. You have good energy, but you might just not have the simple roadmap. You don't know what stands between where you are today and where you want to be, ideally. And the goalposts will always be moving. Like once you attain your goal, once you get to the top of the mountain, then you can see a whole new perspective, and then you'll find the next mountain to climb. And the reality is you got to go down into the valley, and you got to go through all these obstacles, and you got to do it all over again. The hero's journey, it's a cycle. It goes over and over. But that's what having that target, that summit that you've set your sights on, that's what gives life meaning. And it's what gives, I think it was Jordan Peterson. He talks about, humans are meaning creation machines, if you ask me, meaning making machines, or we search for and find patterns. But if you don't have an end goal, you're in a certain place and you need a target. You need somewhere to be moving towards. That's what gives life meaning. So you can orient yourself properly, as Jordan Peterson says, the Dr. Peterson, psychology professor from the University of Toronto. That's what gives everything in the world meaning. And that will help you identify who are the people you need to surround yourself with, who are the people maybe you need to distance yourself from a little bit, what are the tools and the weapons, if you will, that will help you get towards your goal or help you achieve your end, and what are the obstacles. The reality in the material world is it's just a bunch of objects. And it's us who project meaning onto them based on where we're trying to go and what we're trying to achieve. But that is the human experience. You've got to have an end goal. So you're starting here and you're trying to go there. What's your mountain? What's your end goal? What are you aiming at? So we're going to help you get clear on that. And that gives life meaning. It will help you find direction and purpose. And it will help you create your own roadmap. I'll give you the foundations, but over the course of the next 30 days, if you commit to this process, you will walk away with your own blueprint that works for you specifically and what you're trying to do. So how do you actually achieve real results? I mean, so many people online, it's so easy to just pay a couple dollars, pay $100, 200, whatever. You could invest $4,000, $5,000, 10,000, 20. You know, it depends what different amounts will be meaningful to different people. But what really unlocks the results is you must draw a line in the sand and say, I am committed to this. I mean, yes, everyone who comes into the Foundry, you have all invested one amount or another. You know, you've all invested something to be here if you're inside the accelerator. If nobody gets a free ride, because if you don't invest, then you won't value it. But, you know, money means different things to different people, but it's also not the only commitment that you've got to make. Number one, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. So most of you who are watching this have likely already done that. If you're inside the program, if you're on the list already, then you've done that. But some of the earliest supporters and beta testers may have just made a very small, perhaps an insignificant financial investment. It probably doesn't, it may not mean anything to you. You may have already forgotten about it. It's still, I see it time and again with online courses, even with bigger investments. I mean, some people, you can put money into something and then still totally forget about it. That's just the first commitment. But the real, I mean, others have invested several $1,000s to go through some of this process to deeper levels with me already and learn the philosophy in a bigger way. What you need to do really, though, before you can benefit from the next 30 days, from any of the lessons I'm going to be sharing, the one thing that stands between you and results is this. You must, and I can't do this, you must make an absolute 100% ruthless commitment to the process. So you've already invested your money. You also need to invest your time every single day, at least 1 hour to really do this properly. But it will require more time if you really want accelerated results. But you better be setting aside at least an hour to 3 every day. And then your energy, of course. So some of you have other things, other, you know, part-time job or full-time job. You might be juggling many things. I get it. I'm a dad. It's fucking hard for me to do this too. Believe me. I had to kick my family out today. And I haven't seen my son in 2 months, but I'm still here, and I will be here every day as long as you keep showing up. If you guys don't do this shit, then what point is there for me to keep putting out the lessons? But if you do it, I have the process. So it takes really, it will take your time and your energy and your commitment to results, no matter what. No matter what. If you want to have a life where you have it all, where you feel balanced and you've got, you know, great things going on across all 4 domains, you know, you feel great, you've got great confidence, you've got a good self-image. That's what it's going to require, believe me, if you want to go out there and start making more sales. That's mindset, not just money, that's mindset. You want to feel great in your body and have energy to go kick ass every day and to invest in your business. That takes your energy and your ability. So you better be taking good care of your body. So, I mean, you know, across all 4 of these pillars, mindset, health, wealth, and relationships, you've got to be willing to devote yourself to these 4 disciplines. So I'm going to give you all kinds of recipes and blueprints that I've used to improve all 4 of these areas. All right, the cops they might come and shut us down. I'm giving away the secrets, you guys. Get it while you can. Get it while you can. Okay, so If you're going to make the commitment, give me a shout. If you're listening, if you're watching live, give me a like. Let me know that you're in this thing. Are you in it to win it? Give us a thumbs up or a like. Are you in it? Yes or no? You can say no. I don't mind a no. The one thing I can't deal with is maybe. You've got to get clear and you've got to commit yes or no. Let me know if you're in. We provide the training, we provide the space, the tools, some technology will point you in the right direction. All the resources you need and facilitate the space and the experience you need to create transformation, but you will have to put the pieces together in your own way. And with those four things, add them together, you will get your outcome, your results. But you've got to put in the time every day. You will have to do the hard work. So, consider the next 30 days for those of you who aren't already deep into the process with me. If you're just coming into the Foundry, or if you've been sitting on the fence for a while and you're thinking about maybe doing this 30-day challenge, I mean, this is going to be the most in-depth challenge we've done thus far. It is going to give you the best results in your business, concrete, actionable, action plans that you can take away that will help you build your next product, your next product or service, or if you've already got a product or service, we will also help you get clear on the marketing strategy or improve your sales systems. But you've got to do the work. So if you stick with this for the next 30 days, you can, if you nurture it, like those little seedlings in the garden, you've got to plant them. I'll give you the seeds. I'll tell you what kind of soil you need, how much to water them, when to plant them, how much sunlight, but you've got to plant them in your garden. And you do have to give them attention and love and nurture them and give them the right nutrients and circumstances they need to grow and thrive and blossom. So you will have to do the work. If you do it, you can unlock 3 years of results in your business and life in an accelerated, condensed period of time together with us in the Foundry. So that's what we're working on together. We've got the accelerator platform, which most of you are already inside there. If you're not, you can reach out to me, and we've got 20 more spots before it becomes a monthly paid program. So it's not too late if you want to be a last minute participant in this 30-day experience. We officially kick off with the real meat and potatoes in the morning. So it's not too late to reach out to me. But yeah, most of you are already inside. We've got small group masterminds. Some of you are in with me. We will have 12 weeks of more in-depth, a master class that's what I'm building this month. And I'll be sharing my product creation process with you. But so we have 12 weeks of in-depth training about the hero's journey and the more psychological side of this work coming up. We've done many already, but we have more 90-day hero challenges coming up. If you go through this 30-day process focused on wealth, if you want to stick with it, we'll have an even more in-depth and rewarding a 90-day self-authoring process that will really, really get to the heart of who you are and what you were put here for, what makes you unlike anyone else on earth. But this is the first of many pieces. And I hope to get huge results with each of you, but it's up to you to do the work. So, okay, who's with me? Are you in? I want to see some comments. I want to see some feedback. Anybody? I hope this broadcast is coming through. At the very least, it will be recorded. I know I've got at least one or two viewers. I'm praying that the internet connect. I've got two different things going on, so I pray that the connection has been decent enough that you can follow what I've been saying. There may be a delay, but if you're still with me this far, we've been going for like an hour and 45. So give me a shout. Let me know. Are you committed? Are you excited for the next 30 days? Are you ready to do the hard work? So here's the thing. If you break it down, do it little by little. The whole philosophy of what we're doing. It's not about pulling off miracles, okay? But it is about drilling better habits. It's about reverse engineering the results you want, and then figuring out, like, break it down. What is daily little actions that you can take to get yourself there? How do you develop more consistency? Or put in the reps. Just like in the gym, that's how you'll really transform over time. You're not gonna see overnight success. You're not gonna have a miracle happen. You're not gonna suddenly be a whole different person after 1 week. I mean, to be honest, you're not even gonna be a whole different person after this 1 month. But if you do the work every day, you certainly will have a whole different outlook, and you will be way clearer on what it is you're building, where you're going, and specifically, step by step, how you're going to get there. You will have a plan, a concrete plan of attack to expand your empire. So, at this point, if you're in the first, many of you inside the Foundry are all, you've been in here, you've been quiet, you've been lurking. I see some of you signing in. Some of you haven't signed in for a while. So I will be reaching out to everybody with time. But if you've been flirting with the idea of joining one of these challenges, or if you're halfway committed but you're still on the fence, the first few things I need you to do are these. Number one, upload your profile picture. We want to see your face. We're not. You need to connect with others through this process. So number one, upload a clear picture with your face to your profile. Number two, upload your cover photo, something of your own, anything you like. Number three, and this is the important one, and I know it's not easy, but you need to, before we can move on, I need you to post a 2-minute or less video introducing yourself. Who are you? And I don't necessarily mean what do you do, like most people ask when they meet someone new, but who are you? What makes you tick? What are you after? At least as far as you're clear thus far. Who are you? And why are you here? What brings you to the Foundry? Why are you involved in this community? Why are you even following the HERO Project? Why do you open my emails? Why are you watching this video right now? Why are you signed up for this 30-day wealth challenge? What is the result you hope to get? Or what is the challenge you're facing in your life? Why do you need to be surrounded by a community like this right now? What is your mission if you have the faintest idea yet? Share. Just use your phone. You do a live broadcast, or you can just record a video and upload it later into the Foundry Accelerator group. Introduce yourself, please. Tell us who you are, where you're coming from, why you're here, what you hope to get out of the program. Let others associate a face with the name. Share a piece of your story. We're going to be doing a lot more of that, but you've got to break the ice, okay? And up next, I will have more. There's 5 simple, straightforward foundational principles. Let me see. Let's see, what else do we have worth sharing from the last? So those of you that are inside, we have several workshops already available in the accelerator group. There is a workshop all about the founding principles where I do share these 5 kind of foundational guidelines, rules for engagement, but I will share those more in depth with those who are joining me on the 30-day challenge later. Up next, there's 2 case studies available already inside the Foundry if you want to see what results of it. Brandon quit his job after 4 months going deep dive with us in the mastermind, and then he brought his whole family halfway around the globe for an amazing adventure in Thailand. There is a thorough workshop that delves into what the 4 pillars system is, so I recommend watching that if you have not yet. And there's a lot more on the way. I am working on the next major workshop is, as I say, it's going to be just a real deep dive into the learning cycle, the framework we will use here. It's called the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell called it the monomyth, but I will map that onto like what that means from a more psychological perspective, not just a storytelling perspective or literary perspective, but like how you will actually be able to see these archetypes manifest themselves in your real life. It's weird. It might blow your mind, but I promise you, if you take the time to learn about this, it will be very revealing. It will help you get through hard experiences much easier, much quicker, avoid disaster, and yeah, seek out the mentors, the helpers, the resources, the tools that you need to get where you're going much easier. So that's coming up very soon. We will also have a goal setting workshop in the next week, and so other things I've been working on while I was in Thailand the last 2 months. Some of you have heard the first episode, but I will be putting out a short series of podcasts very soon to share some of my own, struggles and journey and learning process. And I'm just finishing up the real training to go along with that. But there will be the first prequel episodes for the new Hero podcast coming up very soon inside the Foundry. Of course, we're primarily focused on the 30 days wealth training this month. But we will be delving into all 3 of the other pillars as well. Mindset, health, and relationships in big ways. And what else here? Yeah, in the next week or so, if you join us for this 30 days process, I will be sharing, basically some of my own morning routines, tools, and resources I recommend. Basically, yeah, just to help if you're in a state of chaos like I was a couple years ago, traveling all over the place, like having multiple projects I'm juggling and just feeling spread too thin. I'll be sharing a lot of, starting with morning routines, different frameworks that will help you create more order from the chaos, help you get on track, help you orient yourself, help you set those goals so you have that target you're aiming at. And hopefully with time you will feel like you've got a better handle on your life as a whole, and build more structure, feel like you've got direction, more purpose, all of those things. And yeah, the further you go into this process, believe me, we are going to be peeling back the layers and really getting clear on your purpose, unique to you, and helping you refine your marketing message, you know, helping you craft the most powerful story that you can tell to influence others, to bring to gather a community around you and your business, to get more people on your team, more supporters, to find mentors of your own or partners, whatever you're seeking. But it's about getting clear on where you're going and who you are, and crafting your most powerful story that you can start sharing with the world. And it all starts tomorrow with this 30-day wealth challenge. Okay, so Adam, Dwight, I think David will be joining us. I pray Brandon will come back into the fold. I know Jesse and Rodrigo are still on the fence, considering it. Let's see. So many windows open. So if I missed you guys, I'm sorry, but yeah, I really look forward to connecting more with each of you guys. Please, share your questions or concerns. Let us, if you're already in the Foundry, Kadu, Chris, Wolf, who else? A bunch of you guys. I know you're working on products, so get off the fence. You don't have to say yes, but if you have an hour a day and you need more direction or a clearer blueprint, or working on developing a marketing strategy, or refining your offer, please join us. And I will be breaking down all the tools and processes I've gone through over the last 12 years running businesses. So bring your questions. If there's something specific that you already know you're working towards, let me know so I can custom cater this experience around you and what you're trying to build. Anyhow, drop a 2-minute video in the accelerator platform. Let us know who you are, what you're working on, why you're joining us, why you're here. Let us know what you got out of this video. Thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And tune in tomorrow. I will be sharing the foundational rules of engagement. The guidelines for how to play the game here in the Foundry Accelerator, how to use the platform, how to interact with one another, and just the rules I need you to commit to if you want to get the best results possible out of this 30-day process that I will be sharing with you every day throughout March. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting the Foundry over the last couple of years. Thank you for your patience and for being part of this. It means the world to us to have all of you involved, all of you supporters, all you mentors, and believe me, we are going to be rocket launching here in 2019. I'm really excited to have each of you along for the ride, so thank you. And I look forward to connecting with you again tomorrow. Have a great night or day or morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for your time, guys. Speak to you soon. Peace.